Hello, everyone. My name is Shelly Lynn Hughes, and I am the founder of Pursuit 365. Every Wednesday, I like to interview an incredible human being, and today we have Allyson O'Brien. Allyson, I'm going to put my glasses on here. Allyson has been a clinical esthetician for nearly 20 years, specializing in many fields, including advanced skincare, facials, laser treatments, skin rejuvenation, and nutrition. Allyson became a certified oncology esthetician in 2013 and has been working with cancer patients on their journeys ever since. She recently joined Oncology Training International as a Canadian trainer and is currently working towards her nutrition degree in order to combine skin and gut health treatments to a better assist with her clients with tricky skin conditions. She is an award-winning with a global recognition for her achievements, an author, celebrity facialist, spa consultant, and has an extensive experience in spa management, operations, and education. So, Allyson, wow, welcome to Pursuit 365's Talk Wednesday. And that's quite a resume that you have there.
Thank you.
It's
taken a lot of time
God.
to try and build that up.
What's that?
So it took a lot of time to try and build some of that stuff up, but
oh, well,
really,
you know what? It's
a really awesome, rewarding
incredible
career. So
I had to go from one glasses to the other glasses so I could see you. Okay, so tell me, okay, first of all, I know you've been on before, but before when you were with Steph Purdy, our last host, you guys talked a lot about oncology because that's where your specialty is. But I know that you do a lot. I mean, not that that's not important, but you do a lot more than oncology. So one question that I would love to know is how you actually got involved in the skincare industry. Like, did you just by accident get involved with it? Or was it something you knew that you always wanted to do?
Well, it was not what I wanted to do. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a tornado chaser. I wanted to be a ENT or a EMT, sorry. I wanted to be a adolescent psychologist. I wanted to be all kinds of different things. Marine biologist was probably the very first thing right off the bat that I wanted to be as a kid. And wanted to go to Dalhousie University in Nova Scotia, and that was going to be my goal. Because I was like so obsessed with marine biology and how fish are and, you know, like being combined and things. But my falling in love with what I do now actually started in high school. There was an amazing teacher that I still talk to, and her name is Miss Jan Cox. Cannot for the life of me call her anything else but Miss Cox, but anyway. But we had cosmetology in high school, and as a grade, I think it was grade 10, I was able to take it and instantly fell in love with it and took it all through grade 10, grade 11, grade 12. And where I'm from in Ontario, I was the last grade for something called OAC, and OAC was Ontario academic curriculum. So it was grade 13, but basically it was like an Ontario thing. It was almost like a university prep year. So I got 6 extra credits than the rest of Canada type of deal.
Wow.
So, but yeah, grade 10, just kind of entered the class, thought it was going to be a bird course. I was like, hair, skin, and nails, whatever. And just fell in love with it. And she made me fall in love with it too. And I started skipping other classes. And this is how we really realized that it was my calling, was I started skipping other classes to go and sit in cosmetology because I didn't want to take those other classes. And Miss Cox walks up to me one day and she's like, Allyson, she's like, you're doing really well in the class. I was like, well, yeah, of course, your typical teenage attitude, right? Yeah. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, so I'm just going to say one thing. She's like, if you do not become a makeup artist or an esthetician, I'm going to fail you. And I was like, Miss Cox, you can't fail me. I have a 98 in the class. And she went, exactly, and kind of moseyed away. And I was like, okay, whatever. Didn't think much of it until also one day I was like, I need to become an esthetician. And that's basically how my career started. My mom at first was a little fearful of me going into this because she thought I was going to sit in the back of a hair salon for the rest of my life painting nails. And,
Yeah.
back then that was kind of how estheticians were. It wasn't like it is now in the industry. And she finally agreed, and my course started, and I've been going ever since. So it's been almost 20 years. It'll be 20 years next year that I've been in this industry, which makes me feel incredibly old. But yeah, just love. I eat, sleep, and breathe it. It's always been something that I've had passion for, to educate others on, and things like that. So it's been a really rewarding and really awesome career to be in. So
I love that so much. And you know what else I love is the fact that it was a specific high school teacher that influenced you. And that just shows you the importance of our teachers in our communities. I have a teacher, he had no influence on myself, on my career, but his name was Mr. Strauss. And he was my grade 6 teacher many, many, many moons ago.
Yeah.
But he had such an impact on my life. And it was an impact of just being a good, hardworking person. So yeah, our teachers are really important. We need to pay them more money.
Yes.
I know I'll probably get a lot of flack for that, because a lot of people are like, we are paying summers off, but
no, they, the thing is with teachers, my sister's now a vice principal, and I have one of my stepsisters is a teacher, and 2 are EAs. And, I think it's super important. Like, a lot of people don't realize how much stress the teachers actually go through, and how much stuff they have to deal with, and the expectation that's put on them for parents and everything else. Like, I could go on and say many more things, but I'm not going to, because it's my opinions on it. But
yeah, exactly.
Teachers are at times very undervalued and underappreciated for what they do. So
absolutely. Yeah. All right. Yay to the teachers. Okay. So we know where you started. Now, because you've been doing this for so long, I mean, 20 years, that's like, you're a veteran, and you know what I mean? Like, you've been doing this for a long time. So. You've got lots of experience. What would you say? I can't decide which question to ask first, but what are you excited in the industry that is new? Like, what is something that's up and coming, or something that is just all of the estheticians and I'm talking for the average person, not oncology, because you've already done that subject. I mean, if you want to touch on it, great, but just for the average woman, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, like what's exciting?
There's a lot of different things. I think, honestly, the innovation over even the last 10 years in the industry, with all the new facials and really understanding, the genetics, breaking down what some of the skincare really does. When I started, it was very fluffy. It was very relaxation. It was all these different things that you really don't see nowadays as much, I should say. Now, I will never not appreciate the typical day spa or the destination spa, because they are so needed, and those estheticians work so tirelessly there. But I really
just
think
for self-help and self-care.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Like, I just need to chill.
Yeah. And that's so important, that portion of it. And that's kind of a revelation that's always kind of been there, but I think we talk more about it now and things. But I also think that people are starting to realize the importance of what, the certain sunscreen, and how much skin cancer is so prevalent now, and the things they need to do, different stuff like that. But I really, the one thing, because it's an industry that's ever so evolving all the time, and there's new things coming out all the time, but you still have that basis of knowing what's going to work, but I really think that the internal mix with the skincare, the gut health with the skincare, and having those internal helps is going to be, that wasn't really grammatically correct, but you know what I mean? But it was, I think combining that with the topical skincare and having almost like that internal skincare, I think is really important. And that's kind of something that I've started tying into my like what I do in my field and things like that. I know everybody watching this has heard Shelly say that I am obtaining my nutrition degree. And it was something that probably, I want to say, Oh gosh, about 7 years ago, going on about 7 years ago, I really started to see all these ladies in their 40s and 50s and 60s who should not have acne, who should not be having all these issues with their skin necessarily, coming in and going, Allyson, WTF, like what is happening with me? I don't know what's going on. Why am I getting all these things? And it really is relating back to a gut health issue. And I really think that was something that was undervalued in our industry, and people not understanding how that's affecting the skin barrier and how the immune system in the skin really works. So seeing a lot of these new products coming in, there's one product line that I really love, and she's got a collagen mix with a vitamin C that you can put into a drink, a shake, whatever, on a daily basis. And I think that's super important because of how much oxidative stress we have on our systems now. Things like that are going to be super important because not only are they going to help the barrier of the skin, but they're also going to help with what we want to achieve in terms of long-term results and bettering our health. Especially being an 80s baby, we were the microwave generation, right? So everything all of a sudden became really quick, boxed, instant meals, all these other things, and not looking at how our grandparents ate, which were fresh fruits and vegetables, baked breads, all this stuff. And that's starting to come back around again, which is really exciting to me too, because it's also helping to reduce a lot of the issues that are occurring in the skin. But I think that's one of the innovations I'm starting to see. There are many different new things coming out in terms of peptide research, in terms of stem cell researches. And I know stem cells and peptides have been around for a very long time, but it's now looking at it in a different way to be able to heal the skin and look at the skin health instead of just the condition or the type, so on and so forth, thing. So it's more of like an overall,
So yeah,
change.
you recognize the importance of the internal health. You can't just slap some products on top of your face or on your body, and it's going to make all the difference in the world. And on the other side of it, you can have all the best internal health at all there, but
And
if you're
still
not
have
taking
issues.
care, you need to exfoliate. So yeah, that's amazing. So do you have for gut health?
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite, say, probiotic, prebiotic? Do you have a favorite probiotic supplement that you suggest? Because I know I take a probiotic regularly.
Probiotics are really important. I think that people are starting to also look at prebiotics as well, but prebiotics a lot of times you can also get in your foods. So probiotics, sometimes not so much. My favorite line, honestly, is HMF. It's by Genestra. It is actually been created by a PhD. His name is Dr. Nigel Plummer. He's fascinating to listen to. He is like the gut guru. And they've created one that's called the Women's Health, and it's actually got things for urinary tract issues as well. It's got cranberry in there and things too. So that one's one that I take all the time. It's shelf stable, so you don't have to keep it in the fridge, which I know sometimes deters people. But it's also going to help with skin health, gut health, like overall health altogether, right? So, and that's one thing, like we're seeing in a ton of research, how much our gut health is affecting different parts of our body, our skin, immune system, everything. So that's kind of my go-to. They've even done research for babies for gut health and having probiotics for babies. Breastfed babies versus bottle-fed babies. Like they've got the Genestra brand Dr. Plummer's done years and years and years of research on, health of that. And, a lot of times when my clients come in for consultations, the first thing I say to them, I'm like, I want your hormones checked and I want a food panel done. So the bonus of me being able to get my nutrition part of this is I'll be able to do the food sensitivity testings for them. And it doesn't necessarily mean you need to avoid the foods altogether. It's just you're hypersensitive to them at that point. Now, sensitivities and allergies are totally different as well, right? So that's the other thing people have to understand also is you can be allergic to peanuts, which is a true allergy, or you can have a sensitivity to the enzyme in the peanut, right? Like, for example,
Totally agree with you. My older daughter is life-threatening anaphylactic to all dairy, peanuts, and tree nuts.
Yeah.
And when I breastfed her, I stayed off all of her allergens because even though it was going through my body and my milk, it was still getting into her system. Then that's where her sensitivities were coming.
Yeah.
And that's where all the colic and everything else. So sensitivities and true born anaphylaxis are completely.
Yeah. And my sister's one who's anaphylactic to peanuts as well. And hers is actually molded to most nuts now too, which is really funny, but she can have almonds, but she can't have any other nut.
That's my older one. She can have almonds, but like anything else, we're at a hospital.
Yeah.
I branded EpiPens.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She's got them lying all over the place. So that's always been a thing.
That's a whole nother subject. Okay. So you got your probiotics. All right. So we know the importance of gut health. We know the importance of internal, external, and how the impact that's going to have on your skin. And again, like you said, the foods, how that's going to have an impact, cortisol levels, whatnot, hormones, and that thing. Moving forward, I know that through the years and, being my age, there's been some skincare treatments or skincare products or like stuff that we would do to our skin that we thought was really good. And then now years later, we're like, oh my gosh, like
why did
damage we did, or that was stupid. That was ridiculous. I mean, it could be even like a little bit of both, but is there something that you can look, 20 years ago to now, let's say that you were in love with that or other estheticians that were in love with that you're like, ugh, that was ridiculous.
It's funny. There's been a few throughout the years. This is not one that I've ever done, as you can tell how pale I am, but the whole, like, my mom, for example, who's a flight attendant, she used to sit in Rome or wherever on the beach with tin foil, like mirrors up against their faces to get a tan type of thing. No sunscreen to be had anywhere.
No.
I think that, well, number one is not wearing your sunscreen, rain or shine, 365 days a year. I think that's a really big one because that's just fast forwarded everybody's aging, right? And not only like we were talking about with gut health, you have to eat healthy and, have your fruits and vegetables and everything to maintain healthy insides. You've got to make sure you protect the outside as well, right? I think the other one, which is still a thing, which kills me, is those peel off masks, those black carbon. They make me cringe. Just cringe. Because the thing people aren't understanding is that, waxing at home, for example, or those peel off masks, you can cause micro tearing to the skin, which is going to advance your aging, right?
Yeah.
So when you're sitting there pulling those masks, you're causing the damage to the skin over and over again.
Oh my God.
And people they're having no concept. And this, again, the same, like I look on TikTok all the time and like people waxing themselves at home and not pulling the skin taut to pull. Well, guess what? You're going to cause pigmentation, aging, like laxity in the skin, potential scarring, stuff like that. So, it's really when you're looking at those different products, I know different countries have different values in terms of what they do on the skin, but I really think you need to consult with a professional who's gone through school, who's been able to, kind of tell you if this is going to be right or not. There's certain scrubs out there, which I'm not going to name names, but they're drugstore brands that are not good for your skin. And people are like, oh, I totally use that. It's called
so there's a lot of I right now post-COVID or just even, there's going to be a lot of people that can't afford to go to an esthetician.
100%.
That cannot, and they want to do it at home. So they're like, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. So they go to the drugstore. Are there any drugstore products that you could say, or even going to a health food store and picking up a product that should go topically on your skin or even internally that is inexpensive, And that, like you would say, these are, one or two things that do put this on daily. It's inexpensive. Get it from the drugstore. Get it from a health food store. What would you suggest? Say three things that someone could do that they're going to notice a difference.
Depending on the age, depending on the skin condition, retinol right off the bat, it doesn't have to be expensive. But retinol is kind of your number one anti-aging standard and also your acne standard. So if we're looking at dependent on, like I said, again, the skin condition, but you can get retinols that are going to be drugstore brand. The only thing you've got to also look at as well, and I understand budget comes into play, is that sometimes with your drugstore brands, they're more filled with less active ingredients and more water than a medical brand, right?
So you're almost going to be spending more money in the long run.
Yeah.
So you're all like, so almost use a little bit less, spend more, and maybe work on your nutrition.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, and that's the one thing I tell, some of my serums, yes, they're $200, but if you divide that over a 10-month lifespan, which is what you're going to get out of one of those products, for example, that's also out of that 10 months, it's going to be, $20 a month. Well, there's 4 Starbucks or 3.5 Starbucks, depending on what you order. There's
which are not good for your
Starbucks, skin. Right? Yeah. So, I think that's the thing people have to understand. And yes, absolutely, it's going to be more pricey up front, but in the long run, you're going to get better activity level, better ingredients, better chemical makeup of the product itself, and more activity to it. Now, getting back to your drugstore brands, there are a few out there. It's not going to hurt to go and get things like, if you're just wanting to wash and moisturize your face, CeraVe. If you go to Sephora, I tend to, if someone's on a budget, I will tend to suggest for them to go and look at The Ordinary. They're super cheap because The Ordinary comes straight from a lab. There's no in-between people with that brand, but they still have a nice active aspect to them, I'm one that I will not my ethical side of me, if someone's got a cleanser or a moisturizer, they're like, it's bomb.com, I'm not changing it. That's fine. I don't care. But I want to insert things into your line that are going to give you more activity, give you better results, so on and so forth. So if that's not something I carry and that's a drugstore brand, then I'm going to provide them with that service as well, because my look on it is I'd rather have people feel better and get better results than selling them something. I'd rather educate them on something. And I think that's why I've been so successful in my career, because I'm not there to sell,
Yeah, well, you're there to make a difference. Well, it just reminds me of that, like, I've got my naturopath doctor, and then I've got my GP doctor, and I go to each of them for different things. And even my GP doctor will say, well, Shelly, I could get you to go get this blood work done, but it's going to cost you money because it's me referring you. But if you go to your doctor and ask the same thing, you're going to be saving 100% that amount of money. So that's someone who really cares, right?
Yeah. And I think that's the thing is, whatever industry, in the health and wellness especially, and in the spa industry, a lot of us care. We're not here to, take fork over the money. Now, again, there's some people out there that are, and that's their own moral compass, and that's fine. Everybody is different on that. But I think when you look at people like that, you can, if we all work together for that common ground of what we have to fix. I send people to other therapists all the time. I'm like, I don't do this service, but they do, go see them, because I trust what they do,
Absolutely.
And we bounce back and forth off each other. The amount of times I've sent people to their doctor or a naturopath to go and get testing done, I'm like, bring me the results, bring them back, and I'll take a look at, we'll all work together to find a solution to figure out what's going on, right? So,
because sometimes, no matter, again, going back, if you're not getting the hormones tested, you're not getting the cortisol, you're not getting all that, and then you wonder why, and then you're doing all the topicals, you're drinking your water.
Yeah.
It's just still not working. There's something
Yeah.
bigger going on.
Exactly. And that I've had that before. I've had someone who we've realized that they had Lyme disease, and
Oh my
she was
gosh.
not, her symptoms, which was really weird because typical Lyme disease, you have quite a number of weird symptoms, and she had very minimal, but there was just something off and we couldn't figure out what it was. I went, you know what? I want you to go and get your markers checked for your genetics. And I said, I want you to go get certain testing. I said, because there could be an underlying autoimmune thing. And she ended up finding out that she had Lyme disease. So, and that was a shock to her.
It reminds me of the story of my dad. So he ended up getting, there was stage 4 cancer in his jaw. And, but he just went to his dentist because he thought there was something just wrong with his teeth. And then it turned out that it was stage 4. Thank goodness he's still here today. But yeah, and then the dentist sent to, the cancer clinic, anyways, the cancer doctor. But again, he's here. Thank God. 4 years later, we still have him. Yeah, it's good. But everyone working together.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I want to ask, celebrity products you love. Is there a celebrity product you love?
There's a few. I think everybody's going to be obviously different in terms of what they're looking for. But the one brand that I carry that is like my tried, tested, and true I use for most of my patients is Clinical. It has been developed by 2 lovely gentlemen down in LA. And they have, and this is not endorsed. They don't have endorsement from these celebrities. They did not pay these celebrities to pay for, to use these products. But there is the active serum from that line is one that's just like a gold standard in that line. It was one of their very first products they ever created. And people like Jessica Alba uses it. Rosie Huntington Whiteley uses it. There's, oh my God, I think even Selena Gomez uses some of their products as well. There's celebrity facialists down in LA. That's all they use. And that's what they give to their clients. There's a few, I know some of them that use just products from Sephora as well, but I really think that the efficacy behind is Clinical line and kind of these actual just people, because yes, they may be celebrities, but they're also still just people, having them go, my skin has never been better from using these products. Those are, I think those are really big. It's obviously there's been all kinds of things. Some of the celebrities I've worked on, they use all kinds of stuff and they have a bajillion things, one of them I worked on, she uses all natural products. She uses olive oil and, all these other things that they don't really, you would never think because she's got all this money. Well, we would hope she has all this money being a celebrity, but she has all this money. But a lot of the things that she uses are things that you can get from your health food store as well. So, I think my personal opinion on it, is she hydrating her skin? 100%. Is she changing how her skin health is? Not necessarily, but there's many different lines out there that celebrities use, but Clinical is definitely one that I just love the fact that there's so many out there who can actually say, I had acne and this fixed my acne, or I had rosacea and this fixed my rosacea, and that really shows, I think, the tried, tested, and true of what the benefits of those specific lines actually do,
100%. So before we send off, because you've given us a lot of great information here. Oh no, 2 things I want to ask you actually. One, I know you're an entrepreneur because you're not only an do oncology, an esthetician, but you also have your own products. So I thought you had your own products. Oh, you know what? It was this is actually amazing. It was your girlfriend's product.
Yes.
Who I know as well.
Yes.
Yes. And that is a small business supporting small business.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, right there.
It's Caitlin's products.
Yes.
Yes, you have Caitlin's products.
I
Okay.
have Caitlin's products. Yeah, Atmosphere. So formerly named Medicate.
Yes,
And
that's what it is. It was Caitlin's because Caitlin's part of our community as well. And I'm like, you got your
yes.
own line. Oh no, wait, you've got Caitlin's. I'm like,
No,
oh,
I've got, oh, it's all good. We've got a lot of people in this amazing community. So no, Caitlin's products I carry. The funny thing is when I actually met Caitlin, I was her educator and her, I was a former educator for the Canadian distribution for Osmosis Skincare.
yes,
And
yes.
yeah, and she carried it. And that's how I met Caitlin. That was forever ago. Like a
So long
decade ago.
Like 8 years ago or 10 or something.
Yeah, it probably would have been, it was about 10 years ago when I first
because that was when I was business partners with Amanda.
Yes.
In
that's
our
when I met you.
Venture. Yes. So with that whole thing. So yeah. Caitlin's products, I love that you love local. Is there, let's give her a little plug here. What is one of her products that's your favorite and why?
Oh, she's got a few, but I really think the one that I'm really starting to fall in love with, well, there's two, I should say that. There is her dual action complexion pads, or dual action toning pads, I should say, which are like kind of like an oxy pad. Yeah.
What's the biggest benefit for that?
So they've got peptides in there, they've got glycolic, they've got lactic, they've got salicylic. So anyone who's needing a bit more, if they've got congestion or just extra, advancing their aging regime to like help with anti-aging. But the products and how they absorb into the skin and what they do is what I love.
Good for my large pores?
Yes.
Okay, I gotta have to come back.
Yeah.
Large pores. Okay.
Yeah. The second thing is her luminous sunscreen.
Really?
So I'm picky with my sunscreens. I am a Tizo girl. I have been a Tizo girl for many years, but I tried her luminous SPF 44 and it's tinted, and the glow and sheen it gives to the skin and the lightweightness of it. Oh, it's such a beautiful product. And it's funny because I've been telling some of my clients about it, and I'm like, this is starting to become one of my favorite sunscreens, and I never thought I was going to say that.
So is it a cream or a powder?
It's cream.
It's a cream. Okay, because I like the water one too.
It's super lightweight. It's got a bit of a tint, like I said, so it gives like a really nice glow to the skin. But it's just a beautiful product. It's just really lightweight. All skin types can wear it. It's waterproof. It's reef friendly. It's all kinds of goodness.
I love that. Oh my gosh, that's good. Okay, so those are two I need to grab. Okay, 5 tips. 5 tips if someone's to be like, you know what, and I know we've got all this other stuff we got to do. We got to do like taking the hormones. We got to do this stuff. 5 quick tips. Want to see your skin a little better. Hopefully, what is the easiest thing to do on a regular basis?
Drink water, get enough sleep, reduce the salty foods and your pop. Because those create, obviously, we know inflammatory markers in the system and increases those. Make sure you're wearing your sunscreen. That's probably the number one thing, is make sure you're wearing your damn sunscreen. And make sure you've got a vitamin C in your skincare of some kind, or something that is going to help with antioxidant and oxidative stress in the skin.
Amazing. Great tips. Easy to do. Simple. Doesn't have to be expensive.
No.
And it makes all the difference in the world.
It does.
Makes all the difference in the world. Well, Allyson, thank you for coming here today and being on our Talk Wednesday and hanging out with me. You know how much I love you. Allyson's so kind. She came and helped me out with a Make-A-Wish Foundation's campaign this week and put all the kits together. So she's not only a client, but also a dear friend and an amazing human being. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me again.
We will talk very soon, love.
All right.
Bye-bye.